Blender here, let's talk about transforming elements within inside of a layer. So I've got this locked background layer here, and let's say that I want to make a selection. I'm just going to grab my object selection tool, and I'm going to select this flower. Hopefully I'm going to grab that flower. I might want to go and get my marquee selection here and hold Option and deselect this bottom stem here, so I have just the flower selected, and maybe I might hit Command J or edit copy, edit paste, and basically what that will do is it'll create a new layer with that selection that I just created on top of it, right? So I've got this new layer, and let's say that I wanted to create another layer here. I'll just put this in the background, and I'm going to grab a white as my foreground color and click Option Delete or Edit Fill with my foreground color, Edit Fill, and that'll fill with the foreground color of white here, and I'm going to fill that with white. And then let's say that I wanted to move this around, right? I could work with this individually. I'm going to grab my move tool and I could move this flower around. Now, if I wanted to adjust some things and change, I could duplicate this layer if I wanted to. I could move that duplicate over a little bit if I wanted to. I could make another duplicate. I could move it to this side if I wanted to. I could adjust these and move these around however I want. Now, let's say that I wanted to scale just one of them. I could choose Edit, Transform, and Scale. I oftentimes, instead of Edit, Transform, Scale, choose Command T, and that's kind of free transform, and you could do both scale and rotate with it at the same time. So you can go to Edit, Transform, Scale, Skew, whatever, and it's going to, if you don't have anything selected, Edit, Transform, Scale, it's going to scale everything in the layer that you've got selected. So it's going to pick this marquee of everything, and I could scale this up and down. Right now it's keeping this scale in perspective, in proportion, I mean. So I can't squish or squash it unless I hold the Shift key, and that'll allow me to squish or squash my selection. But if Shift isn't selected, I could do that. Now, another thing that I could think and do, notice I can't really rotate this yet. If I move my cursor outside of there, I'm going to complete this transformation because it kind of sticks you into this mode. I can't even select anything else until I said, okay, I'm finished with that scale of this flower. I'm done with that, and I can move out of it, and now my other options are available for me to use. Okay, so I'm going to undo that scale, right? So if I were to hit Command T or Edit Transform, just regular free transform, that will allow me to scale something, but I can also move my cursor outside and rotate. If I hold Shift when I rotate, it's going to rotate in I think 15-degree increments, so I could get different angles if I wanted to do something like this, and double click or complete that transformation, go and grab this one, Command T, rotate it this way. Whoop. Put that on this side, right? Maybe I want to put this bottom one down here. Make a duplicate. Edit, Transform, or Command T. Rotate it all the way around the other way. And add it up here and just create some sort of design. I don't know, with my flowers, some sort of thing, right? I could take all of these, hold Shift, Command T, and rotate them all or scale them all together if I wanted to, right? I don't even have to, or I could put them all in a folder or a group, and I could edit them that way. I could, if I rotate them that way, I could take this entire thing, I could put it all into a folder, and then I could duplicate that folder by dragging it on there. Now I've got a separate one, right? Edit, Transform. I could rotate that one if I wanted to, and more and more and more, however I wanted to create some sort of design with these. And if I was happy the way that it looked and I don't need them all separate, I could right click and merge them together, or get my fly out menu and merge all these layers together. But it's kind of nice having them all together in one folder. I could put folders inside of folders if I wanted to. I could create another group that's that group, right? So I can have folders inside a folder just like I have inside of my machine. I can work with them differently, right? So I could take all of these and adjust them differently. I'm going to delete all these, and well, maybe I won't delete them all. I'm going to grab one and pull it outside of my folder here so I can work with it separately. Okay, so I'm going to move it all the way to the top, hide this folder, and now I have my original flower back over here. So not only can I rotate, but I can choose Edit, Transform, Edit, Transform, Distort, or Skew, or Perspective, or Warp. Notice if I wanted to skew this thing, I could skew that selection. I'm going to undo that. Nah, I don't need to do that. Edit, Transform, I could warp it if I wanted to. Grab this kind of warp icon and warp this shape if I wanted to warp the shape, right? I can do that. Nah, don't want to do that. If I wanted to go up to Edit, transform, I could choose perspective, and I could do a perspective shift on this selection and complete and do it. No, I don't want to do that. Now, you'll notice any of these transformations that I'm creating also, it's doing the transformation on the entire layer or the entire group, whatever I have selected. But even if I were to take just maybe a portion of that layer, if I had some sort of selection like this and I did edit transform or edit scale or rotate or whatever I wanted to do here, I'm going to choose edit free transform. Notice it's only going to select just that portion on the inside that I have to scale. Now, another thing that I'm going to undo that. So another thing that you want to be concerned about a little bit is that when you do rotate and when you do scale things, it's kind of like what happens if you remember back to image size, and you change your image and you say, oh, okay, we're going to resample it and we'll make something smaller and have Photoshop get rid of a lot of pixels and a lot of detail. That's going to happen when you transform something. So if I choose edit transform or Command T and I scale this really down really far, and I say, okay, I'm happy with that, and I'm moving it around, and you know what, I want to make it bigger again. Edit transform or Command T, I scale it up and make it larger again. Uh-oh. Notice it lost a lot of that detail. It got like blurry and things like that. It doesn't look as good as my original one. See those original ones in the background, much better quality. So as you scale something down or you rotate it or you change it, Photoshop's getting rid of pixels and eliminating them, and that's going to have to kind of make things up as you scale it back up. So you got to be careful as you scale things up, down, and then maybe scale them back up. So that is the transformation controls of layers inside of Photoshop.